Cori Bush didn't set out to become a politician, or even an activist, until events in her Missouri hometown shifted her perspective, compelling her to launch a campaign that ended with her election to the U.S. House of Representatives. "I think I always had a little bit of activism in me. I just didn't always realize what it was," Bush, 44, tells People from St. Louis, Mo, where she was busy campaigning in the weeks before the November 3 election. Get push notifications with news, features and more. Plus following you'll get the latest updates on this topic in your browser notifications. Compelled to help people in some way, Bush, now the Democratic nominee for Missouri's 1st congressional district, went to nursing school, then gave birth to 2 children, and eventually went on to work in ministry in her community. "I was working with members of the unhoused population, working to fight human trafficking," she said. "So that was my first real step into activism. I started doing some of that work as a nurse and some as an ordained pastor." On August 9, 2014, a series of events unfolded that would forever shift her trajectory. First, Michael Brown, an 18-year-old black man, was shot and killed by police just 6 minutes from her home, in Ferguson, Mo. Accounts about Brown's death soon began trickling out into the local community and eventually onto social media. Long-simmering tensions between Ferguson's majority black population and the local police, who were mostly white, came to a head, with protests and riots springing up overnight. The events in Ferguson, a precursor to protests across the country in the years since, served to highlight the frayed relationships between racial minorities and the police in America. Bush knew she was witnessing history. At the time, "I just felt like, well, I'm a nurse, I can go be a medic on the ground. I'm clergy, so I can go out and pray with people," Bush said. Upon her first arrival to the protests, she was met with a scene that she said was unlike any other she had ever witnessed. The hair salon was on one side of the street, the nail salon on the other. "But in the middle of that, I'm seeing thousands of people in the street, police in riot gear, police with dogs. It was just something I never thought that I would see." Her nursing job asked her to contribute her skills in their mobile crisis van, where she worked alongside therapists and medical doctors to assist those who had been injured and distribute food and toiletries to those in need. "We pitched a tent right in the complex where Michael Brown was murdered, just a few feet from where his body was laying days before. This was where Brown would spend the next 5 weeks, working in the mobile unit Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. She would also pray with those who asked, though the prayers eventually turned to protest, and Bush found herself joining those demanding change even when she was off the clock.